introducing AJ Radhakrishnan from the City of Greater Geelong. He's the head of data and digital, and he's going to be speaking through about the initial journey about getting onto Databricks, which is sometimes the most challenging part. So, AJ, I'll pass over to you, and happy for you to share your own screen, or we can drive for you, up to you.
Thank you, Janita. If you could drive for me, that'll be helpful.
Yeah, of course.
And thank you all for joining this conversation today. So I think it's great that we've got the opportunity to talk about the journey so far from our standpoint, which we hope will be helpful for you all when you are thinking about your own approach to analytics. So it's a story that I want to take you all through in terms of how did we land with Databricks, where do we start, how do we land with Databricks, and what do we get out from the implementation of a modern data and analytics platform. So I'll talk you through that whole journey. I'll specify some of the thinking that we went through when we chose Databricks as the platform of choice, and then what do we deliver as outcomes. So we've been in this platform for a year now. So we were able to deliver some good business outcomes and deliver through some good use cases. So we started with a journey of having a different vision that wouldn't necessarily align with the Databricks journey, so to say. So we had this vision of having all data in Oracle, an Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, because the vision strategy at the time was to run the business of the council all in one system, which is all Oracle. So data was to be in Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. That was not the challenge that we faced at the time, but the goal was to try and deliver data as a service back to the business. So what I mean by that is it was not analytics, anything from a reporting standpoint, out of the box reporting. The strategy was to deliver from the Oracle system, but then the approach was to get curated, normalized data, which is the engineered data, back to the business so they can generate their own analytics. So that was the vision at the time. That strategy failed for a variety of reasons, but we're not going to get to the reasons and why it didn't go through successfully. And then we went ahead and did a strategic reset. We revisited our goals and vision, and then trying to understand what does the council want, not necessarily in terms of what we were trying to do from a technology standpoint, but what exactly does the business want? And we shifted the focus to more of a data-driven decision making, which is what modern organizations, which you've all heard probably in your own journey so far, it's all about making organizations into an insight-driven organization. So the emphasis is on actionable insights and value creation rather than giving data. So the approach was to create analytics back to the business so the business can understand those analytics and generate insights from that analytics. So we shifted the focus into that. And then once we had the goal set, so the goal initially was to give data back to the business. Now we changed that to giving analytics back to the business, big shift. And then we went out to market and did a market evaluation and study. So we looked at, because we came from Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, we didn't necessarily go back and looked at that particular tool. So we wanted to get more of a neutral system that could work across different systems in our environment. So we have lots of systems similar to many councils. So we primarily looked at Databricks and Fabric. And high-level decision points, we'll talk about why we landed on Databricks in the next slide, but high-level decision points, we looked at scalability, governance, AI readiness. I know Janita and Alex have talked on AI readiness. So we looked at those and also cost. So we compared those from when we were doing it. It's about 2 years now. Those were the primary things that we looked into. And once we looked into, we obviously decided on Databricks as the analytics platform of choice. And today it is a central data warehouse that does support our daily governed trusted analytics. By trusted, what I mean is that we have what is called as a medallion architecture. So we have from a raw data source, we go through a medallion architecture. It is not in scope for this discussion, but For those who are thinking about it, if you're not aware of a medallion architecture, please go and look that up. So we have that. So we get trusted data in the end of the medallion architecture. So we have automation built in through that journey in data warehouse. We haven't got to predictive insights and full on data driven AI, not Gen AI, but that's definitely the goal. So today it is on that journey. So overall, that's the journey so far in terms of where we started and how we landed on Databricks. Now, the next slide, we'll talk about why specifically Databricks. Now, those of you who are looking at Fabric, we're not necessarily going into a comparison on Fabric and Databricks. This just talks about what was our thinking at the time and why we landed on Databricks. So one of the main reasons for us in Databricks was that we wanted most of our data to be in one platform, or trying to be optimistic here, one platform for all data, because we can drive centralized data warehouse. And why is that the scenario? Why is that the case? Because governance in a council setting is hard. We have challenges on people. We have challenges on resources. We have challenges on getting governance in a unified manner. So having data in a single place enables us to do better governance. So that was one, and obviously it provides that scalability in a different level rather than having it distributed. So that was one of the reasons that why we wanted one platform for all data and AI. And AI meaning when we have more of data in one single place, we can apply better principles on the data. We can get trusted analytics from the data. Then our models, once we get into AI-driven modeling, it makes it far more easier. It was primarily from a cost and scalability standpoint. And we'll talk about AI in a moment, but then we wanted to get streamlined data integration. Like I said, we have different systems. The last we know, we have 140 systems in our environment, big and small. So we wanted to get data from all those systems, or we wanted to try, and as much as we are trying to rationalize that environment and bring it down to a reasonable number, we still wanted to have a streamlined way of integrating data from those downstream and upstream systems. And this enabled us, we use ADF for integration, Azure Data Factory for integration. So it is not, so it's definitely an Azure product, but our overarching goal was to try and get integration using the broader Azure integration toolset. So it enabled us to have more streamlined data integration and look at integration as a capability. So streamlined data integration was definitely one of the other decision-making points for Databricks that we landed on Databricks. And the last one is on advanced analytics capabilities. Like I said, we wanted to build this for the future. We want to start this journey. We wanted to get data in a single place, but we wanted to get advanced analytics so that it's built for the future. And that is all around using more modern integrated tool sets. So we have Python, we have notebooks, Python notebooks. We do all of our data engineering in Python. We talked about AI, built-in AI that the team use quite a bit in Databricks, but we also wanted to get to more of not Gen AI alone. Gen AI is great, but also wanted to get, once we get to the point of model-driven AI. When I say model-driven AI, I mean the traditional way of getting to AI, which is starting from the descriptive analytics that we typically do to more of getting into predictive analytics, and then finally landing on prescriptive analytics, which is when you start getting the realm of AI. So we wanted to do that for use cases that are deemed appropriate for the city. So because those capabilities are in Databricks, we felt more comfortable in going with Databricks. So those were the main reasons why we went with that high-level decision on choosing Databricks, and that this made the case for landing on Databricks and made it a solid proposition for us. And so we had Databricks in our environment for a year now. So what do we get to from an outcome standpoint? So we delivered some use cases, and we also have some outcomes for the business, some great outcomes for the business, I should say. So the first one is on people and culture. So we traditionally had, I don't know if other councils have this challenge, but we traditionally had this challenge of finding out a staffing profile, the number of people in our organization at any particular point in time. And that's an interesting scenario because during summer months, we have a casual workforce that increase and then it drops off once the peak season is done. And so it happens during touristy season. We do get a peak, then it drops off. So we want to get a system that would enable us to see those peaks and understand how staffing is done. And previously, it used to be done on a manual way of using this absolute great tool that you may have all heard about. It's called Microsoft Excel. It's a great tool which the organization uses, but we want to move away from that. So we want to get into a platform driven way where data is reflected every day. So now it's automated, and every day we can understand what a staffing profile is. But beyond that, we want to get a connected view, just not a staffing profile, but make it more interesting. So we combine that staffing details with compliance and recruitment. Compliance meaning there are mandatory trainings similar to all councils that we provide back to our officers. So we want staffing to combine with compliance, which is what we've done, and also recruitment. So that gives us an interesting viewpoint, which was never there before. So it talks about staffing in terms of what is the strength of the organization, but it also talks about, it gave insights to the organization in terms of how long does it take for a staff to be in our recruitment process to when they are onboarded and when they leave the organization. And combining that with compliance made it a richer, connected view, which is helping the people and culture team make better decisions on workforce. So that was the first use case. The second one was around finance, and that is in the process of, we've done a soft launch. We are in the process of fully rolling that out to the business. But that is on, in simple terms, it's on budget versus actuals. It's harder than we think, but it's definitely harder than we think in our place. And we found it harder because the traditional way of operating in the business was to reach out to a finance business partner and ask direct questions such as, how was my budget tracking? And am I okay in terms of my budget? But now we've changed that to having close to real time. When I say real time, it is refreshed daily. It's not necessarily real time as in real time happening every second. But we have the daily refreshed dashboard that talks about all our budget and actuals, which is just in the process of being rolled out to all budget owners. Again, the process moved away from lots and lots of Excel to more of a trusted system that is automated, and budget owners can see their budget in front of them so that they can ask more meaningful questions back to their finance business partner. It's not necessarily the direct or low end questions such as, what is my budget, to versus more of interesting questions such as, so my budget is not tracking properly now, what could I do to put some controls around it? So that is happened, and the organization, we have lots of the financial constraints that most councils have, all councils have, I should say. So the objective is to have this part of the workflow so we can better manage a budget and better put some controls and efficiency targets on it using the implementation that we put forward. The final one as an outcome is data governance. So when we started this journey, we connected Unity Catalog to Microsoft Purview as a starting point for enabling data governance. So we waited for use cases to be deployed before we embarked on a journey of data governance, enabling data governance. Now that we have 2 use cases in place, we are at a point where we've started looking into data governance within the organization. But now that we have this in one single place, which is helping us with that scalability message that I talked about before. We have centralized data cataloging and lineage tracking, and we have pretty much a consistent access control and security all in one single place, which greatly helps our audit efforts. And And as we are going through this data governance through Unity Catalog and Microsoft Purview, it's still in the infancy stage, but we have this connectivity now. The objective is to improve data quality and trust across analytics as we go along. So we, as a business, the outcomes from our standpoint that we've been able to deliver back to the broader organization is greater transparency from people and culture standpoint. It's greater transparency on people resources, which is more enriched connected data rather than just a plain report. The second one is around being financially sustainable. So we are able to better reflect on our financial situation at any particular point in time. So financial decisions are made based on accurate, timely data, which is system driven, not necessarily massaged by a person. And the third one is around the strong governance that we want in environment and to enable that journey from looking at data as a control system to making the data more trustworthy through the through the usage of Unity Catalog and Purview. All right, that is my piece here. I'm going to hand it back
Thanks, AJ.
to Janita, but I'll be hanging around here if you have any questions.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, AJ, for sharing